they're still down between 4.5 and 5.2%.
And even then, we're talking like 1.4% if you don't factor in Chromebooks.
Yeah.
And we're talking 4.9% if you factor in Chromebooks. We're talking literally like $100 computers.
So that's growth.
So that's unit count growth.
To be fair,
Yeah.
I believe that these numbers only factor like pre-built PC sales.
Yep.
So that's been on the decline for a long time as more and more people realize that building a PC isn't as hard as we once thought it was, or as some people once thought it was, right? Speaking of PC building not be that hard, Terry Crews pretty much took over our PC Master Race yesterday because he's building a custom PC, and I gotta say, like, I'm a huge Terry Crews fan. That dude's awesome. Brooklyn Nine-Nine is like one of my favorite shows right now. So I was pretty happy when I saw this. And there are a lot of memes going down, some dank memes going on with the glorious Terry Crews putting the PC Master Race hair on him with his majestic figure.
Oh.
And so he created a Facebook video outlining the parts in his PC, which now has over 1.2 million views. Pretty darn significant. He was very humble throughout the whole process, asking the community for advice and checking what the community thought of his parts choices, which overall were pretty positive. He chose a Core i7-6800K, 2TB SSD, 32 gigs of Dominator Platinums from Corsair, and a GTX 1080, so pretty badass rig. And also he paid for all those parts himself. He wanted to make it very clear he wasn't doing like a sponsored deal or anything with Intel or Nvidia or whoever. And he says that he's building the gaming rig to spend more time with his son, who is a big PC gamer, but he admits that he's also got a fast-growing interest in PC gaming. So he actually was part of the Battlefield 1 pre-E3 event with like Jamie Foxx and Snoop Dogg. I think that was the one where there was a lot of, let's say, fog in the booth of all the people there. That may have been that one. Snoop was there, so...
Yeah, you don't really have to say any more than that.
Yeah, and he essentially said he really enjoyed playing Battlefield 1 there. He's hooked on gaming, and, you know, he's made it very clear that he's not going to be abandoning being this crazy, like, muscular, huge dude. He's still going to be a very physical guy, but he wants PC gaming to be a bigger part of his life now, which is pretty dope.
Yeah, that's cool.
Pretty sweet.
I mean, if he gets into VR, especially some of the more physical games.
Yeah, he had an HTC Vive.
Very nice.
On his table there.
Very nice.
Pretty cool. I would love to see like Terry Crews do some live streams. And I think he's already been on some Twitch ads. So like Twitch, get it going. Get it popping.
This looks pretty cool. Original article here is from techradar.com. I mean, this has been the emulators argument for so long. Look, Nintendo, if you're going to tell us we're not allowed to emulate, then give us a means to legitimately acquire the games.
Yep.
And they've addressed this somewhat through retro console games, but it's not always that well done. This actually looks like a fantastic solution. Check this out. The NES is back. It's a little mini NES. It's the same shape, but there's no cartridge to install in it or anything like that. It's a much smaller size, and it comes preloaded with 50 games.
30
games. Sorry, did I say 50?
Yeah.
Sorry, 30 games. It has an HDMI output, so you'll actually be able to use it without buying yourself, like, what's that, Retrogen, whatever that thing that Luke just bought, that super expensive, low latency analog to HDMI converter.
Okay.
I'm gonna go grab it off of his desk while you run through some of the details here. But a native HDMI output is awesome because you don't need any specialized hardware in order to avoid the horrible processing latency that you'll encounter by trying to put a low definition signal into a modern TV.
I'm taking over the show now. It's mine. But it will be available on November 11th of this year for $59.99 USD. So like essentially the price of a new Wii U game, which is frickin' fantastic. And there are actually some awesome and really classic games that are going to be a part of this. So Donkey Kong, Final Fantasy, the first one, Super Mario Bros. 1, 2,
I've never
and
played
3. I think I started on 2 as well.
Yeah, I thought Mystic Quest was the first one. So I've played Mystic Quest. Because it was called Final Fantasy Mystic Quest, but it's not actually a Final Fantasy game.
Oh.
It was like rebranded for North America or something. It was one of those situations. I don't remember the details.
Interesting. It'll also have The Legend of Zelda, the very first one, as well as the second one, which is not as great of a of an experience.
Not
I've
as
heard.
well known.
I've heard it's a bit of a subpar experience, you know. But yeah, like this is awesome. Like I
Yeah.
will play the crap out of that.
Yeah, and it's like, what is it, $60?
Yeah, $60.
$60.
The price of a new Wii U game. You can get 30 classic NES games.
That is
in the little
awesome.
HDMI.
Nintendo, this is the right way to do it. I like it. I mean, okay, well, to be clear, I don't necessarily think that you should have to buy a piece of hardware for this. I mean, if they had, okay.
I personally like it.
What if they offered this? What if they also for $60 had like
The package on Wii U
a
store.
package on the Wii U store?
Yeah.
Like I'd like to see that as well.
I think people would
but
complain.
this is still great.
I think people would complain because they would think that $60 is too high, and then I wonder why they're choosing to do it this way. Maybe it's just like, hey, have this cool knickknack as well as all these games. And like I personally like having hardware stuff. Like when I used to buy more PC games, I used to like to buy the physical copies.
Yeah.
Because I liked actually having like a library of games instead of just like, oh yeah, my Steam is at like 500 games now or whatever. Bleh. I don't know. I like having something physical. I think it's really cool. I like the design of the NES. It's, you know, a classic, and having that on the table is like, I don't know, to me it's badass.
One thing I don't like about the NES is the design of the controller, which they unfortunately didn't update.
Yeah.
Even rounded edges, guys. Come on,
Yeah.
please. Please.
They wanted to give us back the horrible experience.
Sorry, it's FrameMeister.
Oh, yeah.
That's what I was thinking of.
That's what it is.
My bad. RetroGen makes like emulator consoles.
Indubitably something says confirmed for old. I mean, it's true,
Yeah.
but that hurts, man.
Hurts real bad.
It hurts real bad.
You know what? I don't see a whole lot else here that we really have to get into. So thank you guys very much for tuning into the WAN show. We will see you again next week. Same bad time, same bad channel, by which time I will probably have completely rebuilt and reformatted the stupid computer that's next to me that I hate so very much.
Hit us up on Twitter if you want to see a build, like streaming PC build guide video.
Oh yeah, Nick's been bugging me. He's like, yeah, you should like...
People have been telling me they want to see build guides again.
Yeah.
I know they take a lot of time, but like...
I don't know if it's interesting though, like rebuilding the WAN, because it's like it's not that applicable to other people. Like we're gonna build a completely overpowered, ridiculous machine, and like I don't see that being that valuable to anyone else. But okay, well we'll talk about it offline.
All right.
See you guys next week.
Thanks for watching. Bye.
Bye. Okay, I gotta turn this down quickly. Oh, what the crap? There's apparently no sound in it anyway, so okay. Whatever. Yeah, thank you for that.
Oh, while I was waving, you had it over top of me, so they couldn't even see me. Wow, you're such a dick.
I know, yeah. Why is there a hotspot?
Oh,
here?
God.
At least we don't have another VPN
Yeah,
sponsor
at least
today.
Tunnel Bear is not on the show today.
Yeah. I'm sorry, what? I must have had something in my ear. Did you just say $800? Yes, I did. And oh, look, I did have something in my ear. Sennheiser sent me a pair of IE800s. They're their top-tier in-ear, designed and exclusively manufactured in Germany, and at $800 MSRP, they're the most expensive earphones that I have ever used. But could they possibly be worth the price tag? I guess we'll find out, won't we? Massdrop is currently featuring the MSI GTX 1080 Armor 8G. Check it out and other drops at the link in the video description. I already know what you're thinking. At that price, they better come with a palm-sized string quartet that plays covers of your favorite show tunes on command, am I right? Well, you can think that, but you'd be completely wrong because they totally don't. In fact, here's an observation that I've made about accessories in general. The higher end you go, it feels like the fewer things get included. I mean, have you ever shopped for a red camera? I mean, of course you haven't unless... Is that Marcus out there? Anyway, if you had, you'd know that the cost of the camera body is a hilariously small part of what you'll spend on the overall setup that you actually need to use the damn thing. So, following along those lines, while much less expensive earphones, like the new Force lineup from Optima that I reviewed recently, check that out here, include things like a waterproof carrying case, a backup cloth case, 2 nice cables with stylish braiding or a microphone inline if you prefer, and a complete set of silicone ear tips with a couple comfy Comply foam ones thrown in. The IE800s include a cheesy, albeit leather, carrying case, some silicone ear tips, and a cleaning tool. Be still my heart. In Sennheiser's defense, the included ear tips address a problem that I've yet to find a solution for with the IE80s, my daily drivers, the way that wax gums up the mesh eventually. They have separate from the usual protective mesh covering the transducer or driver, a second mesh filter built right into the silicone ear tip. Cool. Unfortunately, this proprietary approach has resulted in very limited options when it comes to third-party ear tips from Comply or others. Damn it, Sennheiser. Though, as someone who is extremely careful with my ear tips and who prefers the sound and fit of silicone tips, I don't personally find this as big of an issue as some users who have gone as far as to perform surgery on other ear tips that they had lying around to try to use them with their IE800s. No. The one that I'm more upset about is the lack of a removable cable, a killer feature of the IE80s for people like me who wear their IEMs 10 plus hours a day, often while sleeping. This feature has allowed me to first replace my stock cable that failed with a new one, then buy the IE8i inline microphone as an upgrade that lets me use my IE80s as a hands-free. I mean, sure. The stock cable is Kevlar reinforced or whatever and is less likely to fail, and you can replace part of the cable with a pricey first-party microphone one, but it plugs into a sub-mini or 2.5mm jack that's positioned lower than the ideal microphone placement, and the last 8 inches or so is soldered to the earphone, making repairs to that part of the cable very time-consuming, costly, or both. Let's move on, though, to what the cable is attached to. On the inside of the in-ears, Sennheiser boasts a number of technological breakthroughs, from the 7mm extra wideband dynamic transducer to the dampened 2-chamber absorbers to the oval-shaped ear adapters to the scratch-resistant ceramic housing. But the IE800s just don't look very comfortable, do they? I'm used to the native over-the-ear cable design of their little cousin. The 2 weird ports on the back seem like they'd stick out and push the whole thing too far into your ear if you were to lie down on your side while wearing them, and whatever they might say about scratch resistance, the housings also look like they'll be kind of cold and hard against the inside of your ear. All of that, however, fortunately, is wrong. I've been pretty critical of this product so far, and if you're going to charge this much for something, it kind of comes with the territory, but I can't complain about the comfort. Even my wife, who generally hates in-ears, said about them, they just fit. Worn cable down with the smallest ear tips, I do find them a bit heavy due to that connector at the cable split, but I had no difficulty keeping them in place, even with one side dangling. And I discovered that though it shortens the already short cable a bit, bringing the cable over the ear allows significantly deeper insertion for a more secure fit, more noise isolation, improved microphonics, that sound that the cable can make that you hear in the in-ears, and, for me anyway, an ever so slightly more pleasing sound signature with a bit more thump. Which I guess leads us finally then to the listening experience. I mean, come on, who didn't see this coming? Far and away the best I've ever heard. Highs are crystal clear and wonderfully detailed to the point where flaws in low bitrate files and the mastering of the top 40 trash that I normally listen to become much more apparent than with anything else I've ever listened to. Mids are not overpowerful, but I mean that in a good way. There's no veil for the vocals to fight through, but I don't feel like the rest of the music is being compromised either, leading us to bass where Yeah, they're not the most neutral, true to the original recording earphones on the market. If you wanted that, you'd have a pair of Etymotic ER4 series already anyway. There is definitely some bass emphasis, but I mean that in the best possible way, with a shocking amount of kick in the lower range with fantastic control. These are really fun to listen to. And I don't normally talk about imaging much, but the i800s gave me a new appreciation for this characteristic in a couple of ways, especially when worn cabled down. For musical recording, pinpointing where on the stage the pianist was located was pretty cool, but, and I discovered this totally by accident, the open sound of these earphones also made VR better. Most in-ears feel like you're listening to something that's going on inside your head, kind of inside your skull. But the i800s sound more like you're listening to something in the room around you. So they're noticeably more immersive feeling in this particular application. Leading us finally to answer that original question. Are they worth it? Don't be stupid. I mean, if you can't afford to blow nearly $1,000 after taxes on a pure luxury item, one that has inherent lifespan limiting flaws that I'd love to see addressed in an i801 or something, then no, they're not worth it. But I sure wouldn't kick them out of bed for eating crackers either. You know who else I wouldn't kick out of bed for eating crackers? Crunchyroll. They offer the most current episodes of new shows straight from Japan, like Re:Zero or Orange. Wow, great job, Colton. You actually filled out the sheet this time. Good work. And they've got a large collection of the most popular anime series like Naruto Shippuden and Ace Attorney. All the content on the site is professionally subtitled, and all you gotta do is head over to crunchyroll.com/Linus, linked in the video description, to sign up for a free 30-day trial of Crunchyroll Premium that gives you a whole month of free anime with no ads whatsoever. And if you enjoy the many benefits of Premium, like 1080p streaming, getting new episodes of shows straight from Japan within an hour of their premiere, and being able to stream anywhere, anytime to a variety of devices. To a variety of devices, like your phone, tablet, or game console, you can continue your premium membership to Crunchyroll for only $7 a month. So head over there. It's crunchyroll.com/Linus and check them out. So thanks for watching, guys. If this video sucked, you know what to do. But if it was awesome, get subscribed, hit that like button, or check out the link to where to buy the stuff we featured at Amazon in the video description. Also linked in the description is our merch store, which has cool shirts like this one, and our community forum, which you can join and ask questions or answer questions or just generally talk tech. Now that you're done doing all that stuff, you're probably wondering what to watch next, so click that little button in the top right corner to check out our latest video over on Channel Superfun. I think it's like RC car racing or something. It's pretty fun. There's a big jump. When I saw these Accentware Cat headphones absolutely smash their goal on Indiegogo about a year and a half ago, I knew I had to have them. Not because I thought they looked good, not because I thought they would sound good, but because the beginnings of the kick-farted video format were already forming in my mind, and these things had epic disaster written all over them. But let's see how that turned out then, shall we? The Aria headphones from SniiKz come complete with a cardioid clip mic and acoustic chambers constructed entirely of Japanese pine wood. Check out the link in the video description to learn more. Our epic tale begins, as it always seems to, with the original delivery date estimate of April 2015 given to me when I backed this project in October of 2014. It took all of 1 month to get the inevitable derp, we actually can't use the manufacturer we intended email, something to do with a poor human rights record, fair enough. And after 4 months of radio silence, an update comes through. Brookstone will be taking over customer service and manufacturing. Cool. Shortly afterward, I sent an email to Brookstone asking if I could get one of the first off the line to facilitate a timely review. They told me that pre-sales go up in the fall,
So I replied back saying I'd never asked that and I had already bought one, and then I never heard back. So all right then. From there, the backer updates were actually looking great. August onward is rapid-fire photos of prototypes and good news all around. So then why has it taken until now for you to review it, Linus? Good question. A combination of it being shipped to my old address in spite of me sending a request to find out where it was being sent so that I could change it through Indiegogo, and the shipment eventually being abandoned after an apparent attempted delivery to the wrong address, though I never actually got any notices, which took about 6 months to finally resolve. Though, to the credit of Accentware and Brookstone, who seems to have basically acquired them outright, they did eventually deliver my product, which is good. But what about the headphones? Are they good? Well, honestly, at $130 retail price, I've seen much worse than the cat phones. That's what I'll be calling them. You get a surprisingly rugged carrying case, a meter-long cable with inline volume control, and a gaming-grade bendy microphone that feels kind of cheap and sounds a little something like this. Moving on. The folding hinges do not lock, and the size and are plastic and will therefore wear out relatively quickly, but the leatherette-covered ear cups and headband have a thick and soft, if not especially breathable, memory foam covering them. Not too bad. But any old random pair of headphones from a completely unknown brand, even one with decent build quality, shouldn't have performed this well as a crowd-funded product. Let's discuss the main selling point. These plastic cat ears are not just cat ears. They also, along with the ear cups, light up for up to 5 hours in the color of your choosing. I ordered purple. And they have speakers inside so you can share your music with your friends and family in a unique and creative way, according to the marketing materials. Thanks to these add-ons, the cat phones are a little on the heavy side, but I'd still describe them as reasonably comfortable, even after an hour or more of continuous wear. But of course, I wasn't actually expecting any of that stuff to suck. It would be relatively hard to screw up a plastic mold and some LEDs at this point, so let's talk audio quality. The kind of thing that's easy to brag about on a spec sheet with frequency response numbers, but that is actually very difficult and requires decades of engineering experience to deliver. The cat phones are better than I expected. Not in a, wow, these are great, go buy them now kind of way, but in more of a, they surprisingly aren't the worst thing I've ever heard kind of way. Lows are handled surprisingly competently at low to moderate volumes with tighter bass than I expected, though at higher volumes distortion does set in. And if mids and highs behaved in a similar manner, you'd actually have a pretty competent pair of $100-ish or less headphones on your hands. Unfortunately, they sound kind of like there's a sock over them or something, with vocalists in particular coming across like they're a little too far from the microphone. At closer to 40 to 50 bucks, they'd actually be pretty compelling on a pure sound quality basis. But what about the other features? Pressing the second button from the back activates the speakers built into the ears at low volume to help you avoid getting punched on the subway. You'll need to actually turn it up each time you activate this feature. And turned up, they actually sound all right, I guess. Not nearly as good or even as loud as a high-end Bluetooth speaker like a UE Boom, but better than trying to use your phone, so there you go. Which leads us finally to the answer to the question posed in the title of this video. Evaluating the cat phones as headphones, there's no contest. DT770 Pros from Beyerdynamic can be had for the same price. They both sound and fit much better, with HyperX Cloud 2 headsets available in masculine or feminine flavors for actually significantly less if having a microphone is your thing. So it comes down then to how much value you assign to the statement that you're making by wearing these. For me, that's not much. To people I've never met, I'd rather wear unfashionable audiophile headphones and look like someone who appreciates craftsmanship rather than someone who thinks cat ears are cool. And besides, I've come up with my own way to stand out from the crowd for having absolutely no taste. But I suppose everybody's got to blaze their own trail in this regard. But what if you wanted your internet connection to blaze a new trail through the United Kingdom or the United States or something along those lines, and you didn't want internet providers tracking your web browsing? Well, TunnelBear is the simple VPN app that makes it easy to browse privately and enjoy a more open internet. With TunnelBear turned on, your connection, be it landline or Wi-Fi, is secured and your online activity is kept private from your internet provider advertisers, hackers, and anyone else who's trying to track you or profit from your data. They have a top-rated privacy policy and they do not log your activity, and you can try it for free with 500 megabytes of free data and no credit card required over at the link in the video description. And if you choose to get an unlimited plan, you can save 10% by going to tunnelbear.com/LTT, also linked in the video description. Actually, the same link. Yeah. So thanks for watching, guys. If this video sucked, you know what to do. But if it was awesome, get subscribed, hit that like button, or even consider supporting us directly by using our affiliate code to shop at Amazon. Instructions up there. Buying a cool shirt like this one. This actually is an LTT shirt, though we don't actually have it available anymore, but we've got other ones. And by joining our community forum where you can ask questions about tech, answer questions about tech, or just generally hang out with the community. Now that you're done doing all that stuff, you're probably wondering what to watch next, so click that little button in the top right corner to check out our latest video over on Channel Superfun.
So loads of people enjoy their alone time, but you don't necessarily want people knowing about what you watch while wasting Kleenex polishing your trophy. So what can you do? If you're streaming online, you can always use private browsing, but there's ways to track your activities in spite of that. And if your preferred medium is locally stored on your computer, there are many dangers there as well. So in this video, we'll show you ways to keep your sausage flicking material private, whether you stream your content or watch it locally. Give the video a like if you want to see us test how modern hardware plays old hardcore games like Crysis 1 and Witcher 1. So I'm sure a horde of chicken chokers are going to comment about how they will run their browser in private mode whenever they want to watch content while peeling their bananas. And they're right to a certain degree. In today's day and age, streaming your content or holding physical pictures, documents, or even video in, say, a cloud storage account is often the best way to go if you're trying to hide it from friends and family, because it largely keeps the data off your computer, but it isn't perfect. There are a number of ways to track this, however, like keyloggers, stealthy background applications that can record your typing and transmit it externally to someone else, and packet sniffers like Wireshark that analyze your network traffic. Now, to be fair, these things could only really be in place if someone with a fair amount of technical prowess had access to your computer or your network, but it's something to consider nonetheless. Combating a packet sniffer is rather simple. You can just run a VPN encrypting your traffic, but if someone has direct access to your computer for almost any period of time, they could easily install something like a keylogger, or in the event that your carelessness left your incognito browser window open, simply look at your screen and see what you'd been up to. So how do you avoid all that without being obvious and paranoid about people touching your computer? Here's a cool idea. Use a separate device for that. A laptop or even desktop can all be used. And if you follow our 3 tenets when it comes to said device, you shouldn't have any problems. It should be 1, fast to access, 2, anonymous by logging in with throwaway accounts and using a VPN, and 3, private through physically hiding it. By the way, we don't really recommend under the mattress. It's kind of obvious. It's from these principles that we derive our names for these devices: Faptops, Faplets, Fapones, and Fapooters. Now onto local storage protection. Stage 1 of this is to just hide it. Put it somewhere people don't commonly go, like system folders or app data. Another simple way to do this is to just technically hide it. Go into folder properties and click the hidden checkbox. But as many of you know, this is still very easy to find. So another minor step that you can make is to make it invisible by going into properties, making its folder icon blank, then renaming it to blank by holding Alt and then typing 0160. What this does is it removes the name and the icon for the folder or file. The problem with that is that it leaves a blank spot, which may actually stand out more than a clever name. And realistically, people can still find these pretty easily if they're looking for them. You can go through the process of changing the extensions and names for all your files through a batch process, but that's frustrating, doesn't completely protect them anyways, and it's time consuming, which is a violation of our fast to access tenet. But there's more that can be done beyond simple smoke and mirrors misdirection. First up is encryption, which is a way of using a tool to require password access to the files or folders that you mark for protection. Compression tools like 7-zip can encrypt archives, or if you want something with more options than that, you can use TrueCrypt 7.1a. Yes, the TrueCrypt project was more or less abandoned, but research into the code continues from the Gibson Research Corporation, who insists that TrueCrypt is actually still safe to use, and through 2 phases of an audit, still have not found any significant cryptographic problems. Next is the method of using a virtual machine, a completely separate operating system running from within a host operating system. This is still susceptible to certain keyloggers and packet sniffers, but as long as you have a habit of shutting down your virtual machine when you walk away to the bathroom, it can't hurt. One issue with both encryption and virtual machines is that if the individual searching for your files is familiar with tools like Space Sniffer and Winderstat, they can easily see the large single files associated with virtual drives and encrypted folders. So next is a form of physical security. This would keep your data on a storage device that isn't always attached to your computer, either a flash drive that you can easily hide, these are available in astonishing capacities these days and can be encrypted as well, or an internal storage device like a hard drive that sits inside your computer and is just usually unplugged. The hard drive solution can be quite easy to do if you mix it with the hot swap feature, which is probably found on your motherboard, which allows you to hot swap SATA devices while your computer is running. This would result in the awesome situation of having the data be impossible to find unless someone plugs in an internal drive, which is pretty sneaky. So whatever your preferred method of content consumption while whacking your meat, there's some way to help hide it if you feel you need to. And of course, most of these methods can be used for any type of file, so whatever you're into, I'm sure there's some way to accommodate that. Thanks for watching, guys. If this video sucked, you know what to do, but if it was awesome, get subscribed, hit the like button, or even consider supporting us directly by using our affiliate code to shop on Amazon for things you might use for things that we talked about in this video. Buying a cool t-shirt like this one with a direct monthly contribution. And now that you're done doing all of that stuff, you're probably wondering what to watch next. So instead of going to that other stuff we were talking about, click the little button in the top right-hand corner to check out a video where I review the Ultimaker 2 Extended.
Brendan's lame. Quiet on set. Oh, we're terrible. Is this supposed to be on? So I'm not quite started yet. Brendan sucks. Okay, quiet on set. Last time, we showed you how to quadruple your network speed for $100, and you complained. Now, some of your complaints were misinformed, inapplicable, or otherwise completely ridiculous. The technology I demoed, as I mentioned in the video, only works on Windows 8 and up. I mean, come on! And who the devil invited this guy to my comment section? But some of the complaints were very fair and even went as far as to ask why it is that we're talking about an admittedly flaky and proprietary solution when there's a more broadly applicable one also available on the cheap. So this video then is about how to 10x your network speed. And yes, thank you, Iron Cut, that is internal network speed, not internet speed, between 2 systems on a budget. The Master Case 5 by Cooler Master gives you the freedom to truly make your mid-tower PC case your own with a variety of modular parts and accessories. Check out the link in the video description to learn more. First order of business, there is no magic peanut butter that you can smear in your network port to turn it from a 1 gigabit to a 10 gigabit port. So we will need new, faster network cards for our 2 systems. And while I could say, all right then, let's head over to Amazon and grab a couple of Intel X540 10 gig cards with RJ45 jacks and then pick up a Netgear 10 gig switch, which would work great and scale well for the future, by the way, that would cost $1,500 US, which is like $1 million Canadian rubles. So no, we won't be doing that. Instead, as with most of my budget guides, we will begin by shopping on eBay. So let's find those network cards. We can save a lot of money by buying retired server cards. These Emulex dealies have served us very well. Get it? Served us? Ah! That's a joke. But all the cheap ones out there have SFP Plus connectors instead of the standard RJ45 connectors that consumers are used to. So what do? Easy. You'll need a direct attach copper cable. I've had good experiences with the passive ones from cablesondemand.com, and I've bought from them a couple of times. They cost anywhere from $40 to $140 and go up to 10 meters. So get a cable that is long enough to go between the two systems that you want to talk to each other more quickly, so probably your personal desktop and your network storage machine. Next we'll need, actually that's about it. We're going to skip the network switch requirement by attaching our computers to each other directly. So let's get to it. Step 1 is to leave your onboard network card plugged in to the rest of your network and your internet connection. Pop those NICs you bought into the two machines, run your cable between them, and boom! Windows will automatically detect the faster link whenever those two machines talk to each other, which oh, I'm just kidding. Network crap is never that easy. Step 2, with it still plugged in, that part of the first step was real, configure the IP addresses of your 10 gig cards manually. You can follow the guide that we have on the screen. And if you're not sure what to enter here, check your existing connection via ipconfig, then leave the first and second values the same and add some amount. So we're going to put 50 in here to the third value. This will be the same for both of your machines. Then you need to pick a unique number from 1 to 254 for the fourth. These need to be different between the two machines you're connecting. 255.255.255.0 is good for the subnet mask, and everything else is left auto or blank. Step 3, for testing, disable other network interfaces and disable Windows Firewall. Don't forget to turn those back on when you're done, or you'll have no internet or unprotected internet. Step 4, ping. So we can see if these two machines can see each other properly by pinging the network addresses that we manually entered for the other machine. Then we can see if they'll pick up each other's host names with a slightly different command like so. Step 5 is to set up RAM disks using SoftPerfect RAM Disk, a free tool on each machine. A small RAM disk is fine. This is just to do a real-world test of how quickly we can transfer files. Step 6 is to create test shares on both sides on the RAM disks with read and write permissions in both the sharing and security tabs on both machines. And then you can change these to the permissions that you want later on, although they're on RAM disks, so they're going to disappear anyhow. Step 7 is to test the transfer using a large file, and you'll either be saying, "Holy schmow," or "WTF." If it worked, great. If you're in the WTF camp, then, or it stops working later, move on to step number 8. While in theory, Microsoft should prioritize the faster link between the two computers, in practice we've found that even manually changing the